The Virginia woods are silent. The only sound is the crunch of leaves underfoot and the distant hum of the highway. You've walked down this desolate road for what feels like hours, your flashlight beam cutting through a fog so thick it clings to your skin like cobwebs. Ahead, the shadow of a bridge looms in the distance. A squat concrete overpass that doesn't look like much at daylight, but right now it feels like a gateway. They call it the Colchester Overpass, but to locals, it has another name, the Bunnyman Bridge. They say if you're here at the stroke of midnight, especially on Halloween, you might see him. A figure standing in the shadows. A man in a ragged white bunny suit holding an axe. Sometimes he glares at you with glowing eyes. Sometimes he just stands there. But if you stay too long, if you dare him, he'll lunge. This is no child's campfire tale. This legend has roots in real events, reports from police files, witness testimony, newspaper clippings that prove something happened here. But like all legends, it grew darker, stranger, and far more terrifying as the decades passed. The Bunnyman is more than just a story. He's become a symbol of everything that makes urban legends endure. The blurred line between fact and fiction, the comfort of the familiar twisted into horror, and the terrible, gnawing feeling that someone or something is always watching. Tonight, we'll dig into the chilling true crime origins of the Bunnyman. We'll unravel how two real events in 1970 spiraled into one of America's most enduring urban legends, and we'll explore why this particular story, of all things, a man in a bunny costume, has haunted Virginia for over 50 years. So grab your flashlight, step carefully, and whatever you do, don't look too long in the shadows beneath the bridge. The story begins not in whispers or ghostly sightings, but in cold police reports. In October of 1970, Fairfax County, Virginia was an unassuming suburban community. The Vietnam War dominated headlines, not local folklore, but all of that changed on the night of October the 18th. Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiancée were driving home from a football game. It was close to midnight when they pulled off on a dark stretch of Guinea Road, just outside of Fairfax. They parked near a dimly lit field, the kind of secluded spot young couples have always used for stolen moments of privacy. But that night, their privacy was violently interrupted. According to Bennett, out of nowhere, a man dressed in a full white bunny suit appeared. He wasn't the jolly Easter bunny figure you'd see at a mall. This was something ragged, sinister, and in his hands, he carried an axe. The bunny man screamed at them words like, "You're on private property, and get off or I'll kill you." Bennett barely had time to react before the figure swung the axe, shattering the car's front window. Terrified, the couple sped away, leaving shards of glass behind on the empty road. They reported the incident immediately to the police. Fairfax County officers took the report seriously, filing it as a case of vandalism and assault. Bennett gave a statement. His fiancée confirmed every detail. Both insisted this was no prankster. Whoever they saw meant business. But the story didn't end there. 11 days later, on October 29th, another man came forward. This time it was Paul Phillips, a private security guard patrolling a construction site in Kings Park West, just a few miles away. Around 10:30 p.m., he spotted a man standing on the front porch of an unfinished house. Phillips approached thinking it might be a trespasser. That's when he saw it. The figure was again dressed in a bunny costume. The man held a long-handled axe and was chopping at a porch railing. Phillips called out, demanding to know what he was doing. The bunny man turned to him and shouted, "All you people trespass around here. If you don't get out of here, I'm going to bust you in the head." Phillips said the man then began hacking more violently at the porch before eventually disappearing into the darkness of the woods. 2 different incidents, 2 different witnesses, both reporting a man in a bunny suit wielding an axe. The Fairfax County Police opened an investigation. Deputies combed the woods. They interviewed residents. Newspaper articles ran with sensational headlines like "The Bunny Man Strikes Again." But the suspect was never caught. The police eventually closed the case, filing it under unsolved vandalism. No arrest, no names, just a trail of shattered glass, chopped wood, and fear. The official story ends there, but for the people of Fairfax County, the legend was only just the beginning. When the police dropped the investigation, Fairfax County residents picked it up in another form: folklore. At first, it was just a local scare story. The madman in the bunny suit. Parents warned kids not to wander too far at night. Teenagers dared each other to go looking for him. But as the years passed, the tale grew stranger. The bunny man wasn't just a vandal anymore. He became something far darker. One version of the story begins decades later with a supposed asylum in the Virginia countryside. According to the tale, the asylum was closed, and its inmates were transferred by bus to another facility. But one night, a bus crashed near Fairfax Station. Guards rounded up most of the escapees, except one. This man, the legend claims, disappeared into the woods. Locals began finding the skinned carcasses of rabbits hanging from trees and nailed to the Colchester Overpass. The missing inmate was eating the rabbits to survive, but it didn't stop there. Eventually, he turned to people. The bridge became his hunting ground. Other versions of the story say the bunny man is a ghost, the spirit of the asylum escapee, doomed to forever haunt the bridge where he took his victims. Still others insist he was a farmer who snapped after discovering his land being developed, and he wore the bunny suit as some twisted disguise while seeking revenge. The legend spread like wildfire in the 80s and 90s, whispered at sleepovers and told during Halloween hayrides. And always the stories pointed to one location: the Colchester Overpass. It wasn't long before the overpass was christened with its new name, Bunnyman Bridge. By the 1990s, Bunnyman Bridge had become more than a story. It was a rite of passage. High school students in Fairfax County dared each other to go there at midnight, especially on Halloween. Some claimed to see a figure waiting in the shadows. Others reported hearing footsteps behind them or whispers in the fog. Police grew frustrated. They were called to the bridge year after year, breaking up gatherings of thrill seekers. In 2001, Fairfax County officials issued warnings reminding the public that trespassing at the bridge was illegal. But that only fueled the legend. Ghost hunters and paranormal investigators soon joined in, bringing cameras, recorders, and night vision equipment. The bridge became an apparent magnet for urban explorers, YouTubers, and true believers. Whether you went to the bridge looking for thrills or truth, one thing remained the same: the feeling of being watched. Why does the Bunny Man scare us so much? On paper, it sounds almost silly. A man in a bunny costume. But that's exactly what makes it terrifying. The costume is supposed to be harmless, safe, childlike. By corrupting that innocence, the legend taps into something deeply unsettling. Psychologists call it the uncanny valley, something that is almost human, but not quite. Masks, costumes, and distorted animals all fall into this category. They unsettle us because they blur the lines of identity. Who is beneath the mask? And why won't they show their face? There's also the axe, a weapon both primitive and brutal. Combined with the bunny suit, it creates a jarring contradiction. Playful innocence fused with violence. And finally, there's the setting, a lonely wooded bridge, the perfect backdrop for fear, where your senses betray you and shadows seem alive. The Bunnyman legend survives because it weaponizes innocence. It takes the familiar, a rabbit, a holiday costume, and turns it into a nightmare. Even now, reports continue. Some locals claim to see glowing eyes beneath the bridge. Others hear the sound of an axe dragging against concrete. Paranormal investigators record static bursts, whispers, and unexplained EMF spikes at the site. Skeptics dismiss it all as overactive imagination, but believers insist the Bunnyman never left. So what was the Bunnyman? A real man who terrorized couples in 1970? A phantom born from the asylum tales? Or something far stranger? A legend that feeds on fear itself? Truth may never be known, but the one thing is certain. The Colchester Overpass is no ordinary bridge. Go there at midnight and you'll feel it. The weight of decades of fear, the echoes of axe strikes, the unsettling possibility that someone or something is still waiting in the shadows. Would you dare cross Bunnyman Bridge on Halloween night? If you enjoyed exploring this dark piece of American folklore, make sure to subscribe, because the Bunnyman isn't the only legend lurking in the woods. And next time, it might not be just a story.